everybody.
Hello from Salt Lake City.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist,
The podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Rachel.
And coming up on the show today, we're going to be talking on the second half about the election, the midterms, and how wonderfully surprised and delighted I am. And I know just a couple weeks ago, Dan and I were sort of bracing ourselves, me maybe more so than even Dan, for something awful. And I don't think awful happened.
No.
And so we're gonna run through a couple different aspects of the election, and yeah, like I said, that'll be coming up on the second half. But first, I have a little story here, Rachel.
Okay.
About a group of 30 people who got together in Chattanooga, Tennessee, to protest a drag queen brunch.
Okay.
A little theater there.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like it's a huge event.
This was their first time attending a theater, a live theater, I imagine.
Well, I mean, I'll let you be the judge.
Yes.
I'm showing Rachel the picture.
It's like a biker crowd. I have a feeling they're not avid supporters of the arts.
But they definitely, I don't know what they support or don't support, but they definitely are not fans of drag. And they definitely don't like the idea
Then don't do it.
of the fact that this drag show was sort of an all ages event. Where, and this is kind of a thing right now where like, and it's a funny, like, I don't know whatever you want to do, that's great. And if you want to take your kid to a drag queen brunch or drag queen story hour at the local library.
Yeah.
That great.
Yeah.
That's your thing. You're exposing your kid to sort of different people and fun things. Like when it's these all age events, like the drag queens make it fun and appropriate.
They
and
know their audience.
Exactly. Right. But it's also such a strange line in the sand to be drawing in the culture wars. The stakes don't feel very high for me in this whole thing. Well, people who are doing the drag queen brunches and story hours, all ages, they know that they're going to be drawing a negative reaction from a lot of people.
Okay.
Right. And like I just said, you have every right to do whatever you want to, but like the people on the right who are opposing it, it feels like, why the fuck do you want to like control what people are doing in their like these? They
this
have
is
the right to
Why do you care?
Like we live in a free country. You would be outraged if we told you what you could do with your kids.
Absolutely.
Right. So on their side, that's a strange line to like be going after, because I thought the right was about
personal freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It turns out they're not.
No.
But then on the left, it's like, really, this is the hill we're going to die on?
Right. Like they've clearly never met a drag queen, because there's nothing more like grandmotherly and fun than drag queens.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, here's some reaction from one of the protesters. He says, "My objection is certainly very strong. They want to influence children to follow their lifestyle, their sins. My first solution would be that no one under 18 years old would be allowed at a drag queen event."
Yeah, and I totally agree. If it's brunch, kids can't come. All parents of all need to know, no matter what the theme of the brunch, please. We need mimosas. We need wild jokes and fun.
We're all hungover. We don't want to hear your kids.
We've all been out the night before.
So it's not about exposing kids.
No, I want the drag queens around the kids. I just don't want kids at my brunch.
Well, and I would love to just say to them, like, just like do a little thought experiment with them and just be like, well, how? So, okay, cool. Let's do that if you are fine with not letting kids into churches.
I was just going to say that. No kids can agree to go to church till they're of an old enough
until they're
age
18
to be
years old,
swayed and stuff.
I mean, that's where I would take it.
Absolutely.
The protesters chanted things, including strong families, strong nation, and reclaim America. And some signs were being held that said things like, stop the abuse of children.
None of this has anything to do with drag queens. Drag queens can be Americans. They have families. They're not abusing children. These people do not know what drag is.
Get this one. Groom dogs, not children.
Wow. Wow.
First of all, what are you grooming this dog for?
We're no kidding, pervs.
And so forth and so on. Of course, quite the list of very clever little things that they had to say.
Oh my goodness.
But I kind of like, drag is such a funny thing. Because it's such a big part of like gay history in this country and in the world. And it plays a big part in gay culture. And at the same time, I don't know. How do you feel about drag? Is it like appropriation, gender appropriation or something along those lines?
Well, as a woman, I can speak to this. Well, I also think it's important. Did you think about this when you asked this question, that I come from drag heritage?
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm a little biased, but I don't take offense to it.
Because your dad.
My dad is was a locally famous drag artist.
Yeah.
Not like traditionally in the like lip syncing, performing at contests type thing.
Right.
But was well known as a female drag character.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, I probably a little biased, and I don't take offense because it's like, that's my dad. All drag queens might as well be my dad. You know those matrons of mayhem? Like they're all my dad to me.
Right. Okay.
You know, like that's who they remind me of.
Okay.
So no, I don't take any offense to it, but I don't think it's similar to like blackface or appropriation.
Right. Definitely.
I've never felt like a gay man is like looking down on me because of my gender. Right. So like if they want to dress like me, that's a hat tip as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and my thing is like, as far as like gender appropriation goes, excuse me, what women are you actually basing this on?
Who is this?
Because this is like, these are such wild performances sometimes. Yeah. They're almost not even, I wouldn't even say they're gendered. Right?
I agree.
Like, okay, maybe there's a wig, there's makeup.
There's high heels.
No makeup stilettos. That I've ever seen a woman walk out in public wearing. Although, I mean, I've seen some women that come close.
A Lady Gaga concert can come pretty close.
Yeah.
But she's intending to be over the top.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but I mean, that's just it. They're not, I don't think drag queens are performing a gender thing. They're performing diva.
Yes.
That's the whole, they're intentionally being these crazy over the top characters, but divas exist in performance already.
Yes.
Right. It's already separated from just, you know, I mean, they're not, you know, wearing jeans and a sweater and
it's the ultimate appreciation of the diva.
Right.
I mean, what's the saying? Like the sincerest form of flattery is
impersonation.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all it is just bowing down to the divas and wanting to be like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. Well, what have you got?
Well, I've got a story that I'm really kind of down about the protests going on in Iran right now.
God, no.
Every time I hear about it on the news, my heart goes out to these young kids. I mean, these are kids and they are not backing down. And I wish I could support them in some way, other than talking. But anyway, there was this speed skater. Her name is Nilufar Mardani. And she is an Iranian speed skater. She was in Turkey last week and competed without wearing a headscarf.
Oh, boy.
As is required by like the the ethics or what they call it, morality people.
Police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. What I'm reading doesn't like really say if she's the first to have ever done this.
Well, I remember there was a story a few weeks ago, a month ago, about a female Iranian climber.
Yeah, they mentioned her in here, and she wore a bandana or like a handkerchief instead of a headscarf. But then she also kind of brushed it off like, oh, it was a last minute thing. My headscarf fell off. And
oh, wow.
So maybe she was like trying to avoid reprimand.
Apparently she's disappeared.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, my God.
That's the last I heard about her.
Well, that makes me even more concerned for this speed skater. She won some sort of award in I don't know if she like took first place, but she was receiving an award from this tournament she competed in Turkey. And she got up to accept it without the head covering. And she was just wearing like black clothes that said Iran on it, which is not their like national uniform.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like she was trying to draw attention to it.
Right.
Which like, wow, she's bold. She's brave. She's awesome. But that makes me really, really, I didn't know about the rock climber disappearing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's really sad. Yeah, it's that. It is crazy what's going on. I mean, because, like, Iran is cracking down hard.
Yeah.
They're like issuing out death penalty to like protesters.
Yeah.
And it kind of leads, before we get too much into a conversation, my next story actually has to do with Iran.
Oh.
And the fact that the protesters, and I'm just going to skim over it real quick just so we can get back to the conversation, but it has to do with the protesters setting fire to the Ayatollah Khomeini's ancestral home.
Oh, wow.
Which had been turned into a museum.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if it burned to the ground. They didn't have those details, but the reporters have sort of verified that for sure that it was on fire. And of course, Ayatollah Khomeini was the
founder of the Islamic State, right?
Exactly.
Like the first one.
He was living in exile, or I guess he was living in exile in France up until 1979, when he returned to lead the Islamic Revolution. And he died in 1989, is obviously the subject of adulation in Iran. And let's see, what were some other details? Yeah, but these protests, they all began with this Masha Amini, who wasn't wearing a headscarf, or was improperly wearing a headscarf according to their rules, right? Like it was kind of loose and some hair was visible and whatnot. And the morality police arrested her, put her into custody, and she like died in custody. And they said it was like a heart attack or whatever. And then this whole thing has just exploded.
Yeah.
And it's really been wild to watch because Iran has been very successful at shutting down any kind of dissent throughout the reign of the Islamic
and yet they've allowed, Republic. I mean, at least from my perspective as an American, I always thought that they kind of allowed their citizens to be like a little more westernized, wear jeans and go to school. The women can, go to college.
Oh, sure.
And they're just so like fundamentalist.
Yeah, it's really wild. Was there anything else in that
no
kind of came up?
No, I just am worried for this lady. And she represented her country amazingly. She won an award, and then all that they see is like, well, you didn't do it in the right way. Yeah. Because you're a woman.
Now, was she actually representing Iran?
No. Okay. The government of Iran, or the people who spoke out against her, were like, they made it very clear, like she's competing in a personal capacity. She's not part of the national team in this event.
Okay. Wow.
So she was just going out by herself to Turkey.
God. Well, can you imagine though, like I'm not much of an athlete, Surprise, surprise, everyone.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to like.
I don't want a hat on. I don't want a mask. I want minimum clothing touching my body while I'm doing anything.
Right.
Exertion related.
And then like I think it's Iran, the swimmers at the Olympics that have to wear like the
God, I don't even want to imagine.
ankles to
No,
wrists,
really?
Like suits with like a little hood that comes up and like all you can see
while they swim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah, it really is stupid. Well, what else have you got? What's your next story?
Well, I was reading about this latest marriage equality, the federal marriage equality, what did they call it? Respect for Marriage Act.
Yeah.
That recently passed through the Senate with a broad amount of Republican support, which is kind of amazing. I love that this is the issue that people could come to the goddamn table over because it's important.
Yeah.
And so now we have marriage equality codified. Amazing.
Well, I mean, as of this recording, it hasn't officially passed.
That's
the
true.
Senate. Yeah.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, when it will.
It's sort of a preliminary vote to indicate who's going to be voting for it.
Yes. So
exactly.
it will codify
in the next
marriage
couple
equality,
weeks.
and that's necessary right now.
I think their plan is to get it done before Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
But some observers are like, if it's early December, it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay.
But cool. I'm stoked, of course.
Yeah.
Because my gay marriage.
Because you're gay married.
I'm gay married. I wanted it to be like even more protected.
Yes.
Because I don't trust the Supreme Court.
With good reason.
Yeah.
So, of course, there was a lot of compromise that has to take place to get Republicans on board, and they wanted to protect religious freedoms because God forbid gay people try to make a church marry them. Like they're all afraid is going to happen.
I know, it's insane. Like the one thing in this country that needs more protection is religion.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake.
Exactly. Like, anyway, so the LDS Church came out and the Mormons,
the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for all of you.
Is that how you guys refer to it on this podcast?
Well, so the church has asked the media to refer to them as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You're not supposed to call them the LDS Church anymore. So it's sort of the policy of Thank God I'm Atheist to say the full fucking name.
Yeah.
Even though everybody just knows them as the stupid Mormon Church.
Yeah.
But they're all fussy about that.
But I thought maybe this has changed. I thought the Mormons didn't want to be called Mormons. They want to be called LDS. Like LDS is the cool, respectful way of addressing them.
They have denounced even being called LDS. They want to be members of the Church of Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Is how you can refer to it.
They want everything to just be an effort.
Yeah. After they spent millions of dollars
to be Mormons. Yes.
Yeah. And to associate positive things with Mormons.
Yeah.
Right. They turned the term around. I don't know if they fully succeeded.
They did not succeed. There was too much like that show Big Love and stuff was on, and that was what people were getting from Mormons.
Yeah. Oh God, it's so funny. They're funny.
They're okay. So the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
The
Mormons, they came out in an unexpected move and said they support the Respect for Marriage Act. They're happy with it. It's all they ever wanted.
That's all
that's all they've been ever asking for is we want everyone to accept gay people except us.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
This was the most unexpected thing for me coming out of this whole Respect for Marriage Act thing. Because it's the Mormons? Everywhere that I've looked not everywhere that I've looked that's talked about the Respect for Marriage Act, but anywhere where it brings up religion, they are making sure that they're and the Mormons support it.
Yeah.
And that is so wild to me because we met way back when we first started really becoming friends, if I remember right, was around the time of Utah passing its Defense of Marriage Act.
Prop 8.
Prop 8 here in Utah. And the church was strongly... Oh, no,
was it Prop 8?
No. Prop 8 was in California.
That's right.
This was Amendment 3.
We had Amendment 3. That's what we called it.
And so, like, but they super funded Prop 8 out in California.
Millions of dollars.
And, like, spent millions. They marshaled all their membership to, like, write letters and go knocking doors and blah, blah, blah about the issue. They spent a ton of money. Well, they probably didn't have to spend that much money in Utah, but they spent money in Utah to make sure that Amendment 3
I'm sure they lobbied like crazy.
They lobbied like crazy. And so they've always been on that side of it. And then, like, I guess like a few years ago, they were like, well, we're cool with like protections for like gay people in the workplace and in housing.
Yeah.
Because the state
Anti-discrimination.
But they were like, but we draw the line at marriage, right? They're still on it. And then out of the fucking blue, they're just like, yeah, we're cool with it. And like, and this is on the heels of all 4 of our Republican representatives in the House of Representatives all voting for it when it went through the House. And then Mitt Romney voted for it. Mike Lee, of course, voted against it.
The biggest disappointment in the world. Not in the world. In Utah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Because he didn't think it went far enough to protect religions.
My God. It
literally says like religions are exempt from ever having to respect this law.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't literally say that, but
that's
essentially the gist is
yeah.
You don't have to ever treat gay people the same.
Yeah. They protected the tax exempt status of churches if they say we don't support gay marriage.
What more did Mike Lee want?
Or we don't perform gay marriage. I don't know. That asshole.
He's the worst. Well, there's all these people, like local activists, professors and stuff, like applauding this, like saying, this is such a bomb. We're so happy that the church is doing this. You know, this is such a break from like what other religions are doing right now. And then there was this statement in this article I read. Let me see if I can find it. It kind of resonated with me because it's pretty much how I felt when I initially read this. So Affirmation is, I guess, a LGBT support group for like Mormons and family and friends. Mm-hmm. And so speaking on behalf of Affirmation, this guy says, we appreciate the work that the church is doing with outside LGBTQ groups to secure housing and employment rights, as well as its support to codify marriage equality in the United States. Yet, here's where this resonated with me. A great disconnect exists between the public sphere and the faith home of LGBTQ people, where Latter-day Saint families are offered less protections and equality within the church for their LGBTQ children than what is granted them by the laws of the land. He said, no amount of religious freedom success can compensate for the failure within our own spiritual home. You're still creating a second class for LGBTQ members and their families.
Right.
And you're saying we are still allowed to treat them as such.
Right. And you can't come after our tax exempt status.
But you should applaud us because we support marriage equality outside of our church.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so hypocritical. Is that even what it, like, I don't know. It just feels like disingenuous and...
disingenuous might be the right word. Yeah. Because it's like they're supporting the thing that, well, they got the compromise that they wanted. Yeah. Which is, it's such a weird compromise because it's like nobody in the right to marry movement has ever been like, and we're going to force churches to all get on board with this. This has never been a demand from the gay rights movement at all. And like, sure, I think people are like, well, churches should perform,
some do.
gay marriages, but like, nobody's like, I've never heard anybody be like, let's go after their tax exempt status because of this. I've got all sorts of reasons why their tax exempt status should go away.
Yeah.
Including the fact that it exists at all.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
just in general.
like it should just go away.
Right.
But not because of any one particular issue, just that churches should pay their part, you know?
Billion-dollar corporations, which is what the LDS Church is, should pay taxes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, but anyway, I kind of lost where I was going with that.
Sorry.
But no, but just, you know, I think the disingenuous thing, you know, like it's, they're kind of having their cake and eating it too.
Yeah.
Because they're getting to come off as like, oh, look how cool we are on this issue that we know 70% of the country is in favor of.
Yeah.
Right? Look how progressive
we're progressive
we are.
now. We're changing.
But they haven't changed anything.
No, they haven't. They've changed no policies within their own religion.
Right. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually a really important point.
I think so.
Huh. All right. Well, I want to shift a little bit. It has to still do with Americans' attitudes and religious Americans' attitudes about some things. This time with having to do with the environment.
Oh.
Apparently, according to a new poll from the Pew Research Center, religious Americans pray for the environment at a rate of 42%.
Oh, wow.
Only 42%.
Not even half of them want to save the planet.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, if this was an issue that was at the forefront of their mind, which it is for, like, you know, me and you and Gen Z, then they would be praying for it because that's what they do. They pray. So the poll sort of dug in a little bit. Less than half of highly religious people considered the overheating planet a very or extremely serious problem, though 2/3 said that it was at least somewhat serious. Oh, that's nice.
A little bit. Kinda.
We just have to live here. That's all. But on the flip side of that, almost 3/4 of people with low religious commitment, is how they're phrasing it, said climate change was a very serious problem.
Yeah.
Now, the article sort of acknowledges the difficulty right now of really separating out religious and religion and politics in these issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like highly religious people in this country, you tend to think that they're probably Republicans. They're conservatives and they're Republicans.
Yeah.
It isn't entirely 100% true.
Right.
But by and large,
yeah,
that's who's religious in this country. And Democrats, liberals, whatever, are less religious.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of makes sense just from that perspective because the media that conservative folks and religious folks consequently are consuming has a lot of still climate denialism.
Really? I don't watch. I try not to watch like any polarized media.
Oh my God.
But what are they even saying? There's not denying it's that climate change is happening.
Well, so they're
still on
was
that?
getting my oil changed the other day and Fox News was on in the waiting room.
I'm sorry.
And it was kind of interesting. So there were 2 TVs in the waiting area and I was on the side that was watching like reruns of Hawaii 5-0.
All right, those are your options.
Or I could have watched Fox News. But I kept glancing over at the Fox News and the audio was on so I could kind of pick out some words.
Yeah.
And it was one of those roundtable shows and they were being so dismissive about like climate change.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, and sort of the need to do anything about climate change. Like that's where they're at. They're like, oh yeah, there's like climate change, but like, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah, I love that like, well, okay. Like it does exist. We're not going to deny it, but we can't do anything about it and we aren't contributing to it.
Right. Yeah.
And then in 10 years down the road, they'll be like, okay. So we can do some things about it.
Right.
But it's Democrats' fault.
Why did they take so long to do anything?
Exactly.
They've been, they'll find a way to put it around our necks. I know. But when asked to explain why they believe climate change isn't a serious problem, religiously affiliated Americans echo Republican talking points, right? And so, according to the poll, about half said that stricter environmental laws could hurt jobs and the economy.
Or make bazillions more jobs that pay really well.
Right. And that's what the Inflation Reduction Act
Exactly.
is supposed to do, including reduce inflation, supposedly.
So, like, is part of this that the Bible is talking about, like, the end of days is wildfires and storms, and they're just like, bring it on. I'm going to meet my Savior, and I cannot wait.
I think so. I think that when people are expecting Jesus to return at any moment, right?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's the Mormon mindset. That's
Right.
what I grew up with.
Me too.
And you don't even think of Mormons as being that apocalyptic.
Right.
Right. But it is a big part of the theology. And that's definitely on the religious right with evangelicals. Yeah, they are definitely just like, yeah, he's coming back. And so I think if you just have that in your head, like, this isn't that bad.
This is how it's supposed to go down, guys. Chill out.
We're just going to, kind of run out the clock here. Right. And we don't have to worry about this because Jesus will come back and save us all from it.
Yeah.
And that's sick because
it's so sick.
Because you know what? People have been saying he's coming back for a long time, guys.
Yeah.
Like for 2,000 years, this guy's been coming back. So
yeah,
he's clearly working on his own timetable. And you might want to not have your grandchildren grow up in a hellscape.
That ultimately, it's like you still have to live here in the meantime. And there are days when it's really awful. There are parts of the world where it's unlivable.
Yeah. Well, and I just don't get how they seem to just skip over the whole be a good steward of the earth message, right? Because that's there and you hear them say it, but yeah, you don't see that turning into any kind of action,
right? Which
is terrifying because, like, and this is a conversation that my husband and I have on a fairly regular basis. We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, well, where should we move?
Yeah.
Where is going to be like kind of okay?
We'll have water and not on fire.
Yeah, exactly. And right now in the United States, that looks like Vermont and Michigan.
Yeah.
And that's like
Wisconsin,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the bulk of Canada.
Yeah. If they'll have us.
Thanks, Canada.
If they'll take us.
No, they won't.
I know.
They're just going to be like, you guys did this.
Yeah.
This is on you.
Yep. Well, I've got another story.
Yeah.
Yes, the Pope's at it again.
Oh, what
Pope
this time?
Francis, where was he? He was in Bahrain, and then he was flying home, and he was doing a little press conference on his flight.
Yeah.
And
as you do.
Yeah, exactly. He was talking about child abuse in the church. And it was, quote, a tragic thing.
Oh,
it is pretty fucking tragic, dude. Like a decades-long scandal that.
Yeah. Well, good. He's acknowledging it.
He's acknowledging that it's bad, which is the first step in addressing your issues.
We might have a problem.
Okay. We do. He said, "We are working as best as we can."
Wait. As best as we can?
As best as we can. What do you expect from us? What do you want us to do?
I know.
I'm
maybe
only
address
the head
the problem.
of like the largest religion in the world. What am I supposed to do? He's working the best he can, but there are people within the church who don't see it clearly. The 85-year-old Argentinian admitted.
Then make them see it clearly.
Tell them.
Get them fucking out.
Yeah, me too them.
Yeah.
Out them. You know who a lot of them are.
Yeah. He definitely knows who they are. Yeah.
And if you don't, people under you, there are people who know.
Yeah.
People in charge who know who they are.
Right.
Out them.
Yeah.
And then kick them out.
Yeah.
And then send them to prison.
Yeah. Do you know how well you would do in the polls Do you know how much people would be like, I like the Catholics.
Yeah.
If they just actually 100% like addressed this issue once and for all.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. Like, the best that we can. No, you haven't.
No.
This is not the best. If this is the best that you can, then
creating a massive cover up is the best you can do.
Well, and like the news sort of broke on this issue back in like the early 80s.
Yeah.
Right. So they've had like 40 years of working on the issue of child sex abuse by priests. And it's still going on. Yeah. Like, these reports are coming out. We here on TGIA, we tend to skip a lot of stories about priests abusing children. So we haven't brought all of them to you.
Yeah, you'd be talking endlessly about it.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Like, these stories pop up all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And it's really only when like top officials like say something about it that we're like, okay, well,
let's comment
because you're not. If like, seriously, dude, like, as best as you can. That's pathetic.
If I was part of this press conference, I would say, like, tell us what you did then. Yeah. What have you done? Because we want to know what if you've done the best you can, what are some of those things? Right. Spell it out. He went on to insist that the church will adopt, not has, but they will adopt a zero tolerance approach to abuse. This fucking guy.
40 years.
Yeah.
And he's been Pope now for quite some time.
Yeah, a while.
6-7 years,
well,
probably.
He's like the moderate Pope, right?
Yeah, I know. I mean, Jesus Christ. Here's where my mind goes, and this is just, I hate saying things like this, but it's got to go really high, right? Like, there's got to be cardinals who would be taken down.
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Like, I Pope, whatever his name is, he seems relatively harmless, right? Francis does, right? Like, I don't think he's been out doing anything nasty.
Yeah, he seems like a sincere, nice guy.
I believe him, right? But he's got people, and he probably is just like been told, don't ask about Cardinal so-and-so and Cardinal so-and-so. Like, don't you think? Like, it's got to be like, it's better that you don't know how many of these guys like are either were predators or have protected predators. Yeah. Or have protected protectors of predators.
Or it's like when Trump used to like not get his daily press briefings and be like, get it away from me. I don't want to see like what's going on. This is like the Pope is just like, no reports today. No, get the reports off my desk.
If I know about this,
then I have to address
it. And institutionally, I know I can't do anything. I will go to hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's keeping himself.
Yeah, don't let me see it. Don't let me see it.
Oh my God. Well, if you guys have any theories about what the Pope's up to, please email us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com, or leave us a voicemail message at 424-666-8442. We'd love to hear your voice and respond to anything that you've heard about on the show today. We'd love to hear it. Stick around. There is more show coming up. Well, Rachel.
Yeah.
I have a little clip here that I want to play for you. This is Terry Copeland Pearson. She's a pastor of sorts. I mean, I guess for real. At some crazy church. I'm assuming just because of the style of what's going on, it must be some sort of Pentecostal-y something or other. Okay. I should have looked it up. What matters here is that she's clearly a little nutty. And this ties into what we're going to be talking about later in the show about just sort of the election and post-election America. Right. And she's got some things that she's asking God to get done. God and angels, I think, to get done with regards to the election.
Okay.
And Lord, Lord, for these elections that are remaining, these states that remaining in Congress, Lord, in the House, and Lord, the 30-something elections that are yet to be called. Lord, I pray in the Spirit. You know what you learned last week? Eregino, aindera la crede, indos declara, inonomat stomble brande stegle greinama. Ningle crota eroba cone vresto den, aids de sia la creste merasteno, insteno arreste cano, egle grondele, eramadive, etstone, aideticano, etstole, I know, ele clibra, but you are a dosta cara de bastayata. And you said, Lord, when you catch a thief, make him pay 7 times. 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 Lord, I call in that number 7, the number of perfection, God's holy number, in the name of Jesus. We call in a stay la cor, a result of holy proportion, a result of holy and godly heavenly proportion. I thank you for angel intervention. Angels, Lord, angels if necessary, removing every wicked ballot, removing every fraudulent ballot, remove them, bringing them to nothing, erase them. They are nothing. They are nothing. They are nothing. They are nothing. You are bringing those to nothing. Lies, deceit, nothing. They come to nothing in Jesus' name.
Oh boy. Yeah, she's kind of getting a little worked up there.
Yeah.
Isn't she?
Yeah.
And just for
Holy
our
hell.
any of our foreign language listeners, very little of that was intelligible on any level.
That was not a language.
English. It was not English. If you happen to pick up some stuff, I'd love to know. I don't think there was anything real in there.
No.
Speaking in
She's
tongues,
wacko.
it's just so foreign. We were talking about that, like, in kind of prepping when we listened to it before. Like, it's just so foreign from
It's unrelatable.
people who grew up Mormon.
Yeah.
And probably most of the world, right?
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope most of you are also just like confounded by speaking in tongues. But yeah, like she wants these angels that she's calling forth to
make them pay 7 times. Make them pay 7 times.
which she repeats over and over and over and fails to actually say it a 7th time. Because I was counting. I was like, surely she keeps repeating it because she wants to hit the number 7.
No.
Nope.
7's the number of the Lord.
It's a magical
Or whatever
number.
she called it. She's a wackadoo.
Yeah.
And an election denier from the pulpit. Like, does she just assume everyone that's there is also... I mean, she's probably right. They probably are.
Oh, they love this message.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, this is why churches should not be tax exempt.
Absolutely.
And if it happens to be something that we, for whatever reason, decide as a society we should continue to do, which of course I'm absolutely against, but like if we do, then there need to be really strong safeguards and really strong rules about you can't preach politics.
You can't have a Trump rally at your church.
No, you can't.
And call it church.
Like, and technically, according to the rules, like they should already be revoking a lot of these churches' tax exempt status because they're like basically telling people how to vote.
Yeah.
And endorsing candidates.
They're political
which they're not allowed to
groups.
do. They're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And the IRS just refuses to take action on this issue. I mean, the shitstorm. They know the shitstorm that would come.
Yeah.
But, whatever. You can't really blame them. Well, I can. I am blaming them. I officially am blaming them. All right. We have some voicemail that I thought would be fun for us to take a listen to. This is a listener who just has something to say about something we talked about recently on the show. So let's just have a listen.
Okay.
Hey, Frank and Dan. This is Matthew from Ohio. On the most recent podcast, you guys were talking about faith healing and how people will literally let their children die because they believe their faith is strong enough. And this actually brought up a memory for me of my great-great-aunt. The family swears she was a faith healer. And every story they've told me, I just found hilarious because it sounds more like an ancient spell than faith healing. For example, my sister had warts, and they would not go away no matter what the doctors did. So my great-great-aunt said, well, what you need to do is collect rainwater under the first full moon of the month, and when you do that, slather it on her warts and let me know, and I'll pray for her. And apparently the next day, the warts just fell off like wiping away grime with Mr. Clean cleaning agent. So just the conversation brought up that, and I found it hilarious. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. Thank you, and love the podcast. Keep it up.
Well, thanks, Matthew. Yeah, I do want to just say that your great-great-aunt was, I agree with you, not a faith healer. She was a witch.
She's a witch. That is classic witchcraft.
You just
Pray on the rainwater.
Yeah. A little Eye of Newt in there, maybe. To
some wizard tears.
Well, I mean, it's good. Like, there actually is, like, something to take from this, which is, you know, your family tried medicine first.
Yeah.
And talked to the doctors. The warts wouldn't go away.
Yeah.
And then they tried magic.
And then that is the appropriate order.
Yeah, none of this.
When nothing cures your child, go through those steps first.
Yeah.
And then try the weird shit.
Yeah, if you want to, if you're compelled to.
Yeah.
That's the order. Or if you just need to keep your great-great-aunt happy and make her feel like she's
and
participating and helping out.
Great-great-aunt, but also his sister was alive to get warts removed. How old was this lady?
No kidding.
She was a 108-year-old faith healer in the family.
I bet, yeah. I mean, that's the story.
Great. I mean, like that's
your
great-great-grandma's sibling, or
maybe your great aunt or your great grandmother's sibling, because the greats get tacked on. Oh, starting with like
exponential.
No, it's like there's one. So like your parents' aunt is your great aunt, whereas that's your grandmother's sister. Right. So if it's your great grandmother's sister would be great.
Still,
that is old.
Pretty old.
Yeah. I mean, my sister has grandkids, and our grandmother's still alive.
So she's a great.
My grandmother is a great grandmother.
Okay.
Well, so, I
guess in that perspective,
but she's also 90 something.
Yeah. Right? Okay. So this is
the generations did come with like 20s, early 20s. Gaps. Like they came really quickly.
The Feldmans packed it in.
Well, these aren't Feldmans.
Oh, that's right.
Well, my sister is, but like.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, it's my mom's mom.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. But anyway,
Steinbecks.
No, that's my dad's side.
Jeez. Okay, never mind. I don't know who these people are.
These are my grandmother was a Kuykendall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What is that? German?
Dutch.
Okay. Yeah.
She's very interesting, everybody. Now you can like steal my identity now.
No.
I still didn't say my mother's maiden name. that one's the secret.
What was your first animal's name?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Your best friend in elementary school. Don't ever mention those on this show.
Yeah, Bear. And
your high school mascot was a badger.
I don't think I've ever used the first dog's name on anything.
Yeah.
Because that just came to me. I forgot that his name was Bear.
Bear.
He looked like a little bear.
Oh, that's what I call my doggy.
Is Bear?
Cashy Bear.
Cashy Bear. That's true.
Yeah.
Somehow I never made that connection. All right. I think his name was Bear. Oh, Heidi listens, my sister. She'll tell me. She'll know. All right. now is the point on the show when we would normally thank new patrons. I'm going to let Dan come back before we do that. We had just a wonderful turnout of people signing up and becoming new patrons of the show. And I just think that it's going to be a big celebration, and I want Dan here for it.
Nice. You guys deserve it.
Yeah. But if you'd like to join in, please do so in supporting the show. You can go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com, and click on the support tab. There's a couple options there. We have Patreon. You can also sign up on PayPal. And as always, though, we have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
Oh, wow.
Thanks so much. There's more show coming up. Rachel.
Yeah.
The elections, the midterms.
Yes.
The 2022 midterms happened.
The dreaded midterms.
The ones that we were supposed to, well, the Democrats were supposed to lose horribly.
The red wave is a coming.
Oh, I was terrified of the red wave.
Yeah.
I was
sick to my stomach.
Yeah. Yeah,
we talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was like, like if it happens, like at least these 2 years before the presidential, they won't be on our watch.
Yeah.
And maybe voters will just blame Republicans for, it'll be really clear what assholes Republicans are.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe things will go okay for us in the next election.
Yeah.
That was kind of my little like fingers crossed.
You gave me that pep talk, and it made me feel
it
a
won't
little
be
better.
The end of the world, even though it'll be awful, and they're going to be gloaty, and they're just going to be. I'm just going to hate Republicans even more because of this.
And I was like thinking they're going to see the Roe versus Wade thing didn't even hurt us.
Yeah.
And I was really scared for that.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's a good point. But instead, it did hurt them. A red, like,
trickle.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It was nothing. Like, okay, yeah, the Democrats lost the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
But by the narrowest of margins. It's not fully decided yet, but the Republicans have their 218 that they need. Mm-hmm. And the Democrats are like at
214, 213,
12, 10, somewhere. And there's these undecideds that need to still come in. But Democrats held the Senate.
Yep. Amazing.
Possibly, I mean, the Georgia runoff, who knows? Maybe it'll actually be 51 to 49, but it doesn't matter.
Just a cherry on top at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, keeping Herschel Walker out of the Senate is more than a cherry. Because that's 6 fucking years
of a guy who can't formulate rational sentences. And we know this because we have like a similar thing in Utah. Former NFL player who clearly has traumatic brain problems and can't think clearly and got elected to Congress
for a second time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's really, really disheartening that they're just running these guys. But fortunately, for the most part, running really bad candidates was good for liberals and progressives in this country. So the Republicans running them was good for us. So what are some key takeaways? Like, is there anything that like,
I think I'm just relieved, and I'm just like, what's going to happen with Biden? Like what? Like that's my next. That's where my brain goes immediately. What's Biden going to do?
I really, really desperately need Biden to just graciously step aside.
Yeah.
Like and pull a Nancy Pelosi and just say it's time for the next generation to take over.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot that went into the Nancy Pelosi thing. Of course,
she's been planning this for a while.
She's been planning it already for a while, but Biden just needs to let any younger Democrat run.
Yeah.
Without him in the mix, potentially messing things up. I mean, Donald Trump, and this is the thing, Biden's like, if Trump's in, I'm in, right? Because I've taken him down before.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, but you're not the only one. And Trump's a weird character now because, I mean, one of the big takeaways, of course, from the election that everybody, of course, probably already knows is the whole thing with the election deniers and the Trump
endorsed
candidates not doing well.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, doing incredibly poorly.
Yeah.
Like, only a couple of his endorsed people actually got elected.
Yeah.
And they were in like really safe districts anyway. But like anybody who was in anything that was competitive, they all lost.
Yeah.
And so there's this real thing. And please, dear God, will the Republican Party just be like, and I cannot believe these words are coming out of my mouth, that they support Ron DeSantis.
I don't know that I'm going to go that far yet.
But he's the one who like can prevent Trump. He's the one that's clearly could get through the primary against Trump if he really went for it. He's the one who stands a chance.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not on board yet,
No.
but okay.
But I'm not on board with him being president. I'm on board with him being less of a threat to this country.
I'm not on board with any Republican that is that crazy.
He's nuts.
I mean, he's as bad as Trump, in my opinion.
Policy wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's more of a politician, so who knows how much damage he really could do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
I would just prefer that the Republicans pulled their head out and found a rational candidate.
Jeb Bush.
At this point, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Ted Cruz.
No. Next.
Who else was in the mix? Let's go around. There were so many.
Over a dozen. Mitt Romney. Or was he in it last time? No,
he wasn't
actually
in
won
last
it against-
time. And no, I mean, Mitt Romney's such an... They would never run Mitt Romney
Wasn't there
again.
a Mormon?
Evan McMullen.
Yeah, McMullen. I swear there was...
There was...
I don't know.
Huntsman wasn't... Did Huntsman try again?
I don't think so.
But anyway, yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple years because but here's something that I'm feeling, and I don't want to delude myself too much, but I'm feeling okay.
Good.
For the first time in a very long time about where we're at as a country. Like,
yeah.
I feel like we survived something that should have been a disaster.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And I'm just like, can I actually believe that this is like the moment where maybe some sanity has come back to enough Americans that we're not going to be threatened by, some egomaniacal, Trump type person?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I would hope so.
So, I mean, one thing that I keep kind of thinking, and I haven't heard really anybody say it, and which leads me to believe that maybe I'm just being a little crazy, is I feel like the pandemic, like everybody's like, like how did this happen, right? Like how is there sort of like this moment of sanity? And I think that it's like the pandemic and Trump combined together created such a pressure cooker in America, right? And you had Trump stirring up the right, getting them all crazy, and stirring up the left, getting us crazy in a different way. And like, I felt fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was hard.
And then you throw in, and that was just the Trump years, right?
Yeah.
And then you throw in a pandemic, which is like, I mean, the stress level that the pandemic added to our lives was like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right. Like I was so angry. I was angry at people. I was angry about mask wearing and not mask wearing.
Right.
Right. And are you doing it correctly?
Yeah.
And, and I mean, I had old ladies yelling at me because I was going down the wrong aisle in the supermarket. Right. And it's like, all of this is like fading away.
Yeah.
Normalcy is coming back. We have Biden in office, which means we're not hearing about the president every day, all day.
So amazing.
Right? And it's just kind of like normal again.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I honestly think that the American voters were just feeling a little normal. Right?
Yeah. Well, and when
just,
you hear Trump talk, it's like, turn it off.
Yeah.
Like, we just got over chaos. Stop with chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope there's just enough people that are feeling that. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of that, like, I was probably got a little rambly with that. But yeah, hopefully you guys are feeling good too. It's morning in America. It's
yes. Well, you're so profound.
Wasn't that was a famous political ad, right? It's morning in America.
Oh, I just thought it was like a news thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
But anyway. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you have anything you'd like to add to this conversation, tell us how you are responding to a dose of sanity in this country. And you can do so by emailing us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com or call and leave us a voicemail message at 424-666-8442. Find us on Facebook at TGI Atheist. And if you'd like to join one of our members-only lounges, you can do so. Go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com/members-only. Thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music and to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music. Dan will be back next week. Thanks so much to Rachel.
Oh,
this
thanks
was
for
so much
having
fun.
me. I always love talking with you.
And it was just great having you on the show.
Thanks.
So, yeah, thanks everybody for listening. Bye-bye.